After months of speculating, we finally get to meet Ida's mysterious friend from that photograph. Raine Whispers is the new non-binary Bard Coven head, and they have a lot of dirt to spill on the Emperor's Coven. But don't worry, I'm gonna cover everything we know so far before the Day of Unity. You're watching WhitneyVision, and this is our breakdown of Ida's Requiem. This is your spoiler warning! If you haven't caught up on Season 2, Episode 7 of the Owl House yet, hit pause on this video and come back when your name is etched on the cup of ephemeral glory. As we all know, there was no Lumity action this week, but over in my new opening segment, Tiny Little Faces That Just Need to Be Kissed, oh my god, you guys, King got adopted! I honestly did not see this coming, but officially making King part of the Clawthorne family just makes sense. Just because King is biologically related to his father doesn't mean that he wasn't raised by a kick-ass mom who loved him, protected him, and allowed him to grow into the adorable, fierce little demon he is today. And Ida does deserve all the credit for sticking around when no one else did. And although King is free to explore whatever kind of relationship with his dad that feels right to him, changing his name is the perfect way to honor the wild witch who gave him a home. I'm gonna cry again just thinking about it. But we have other important business to attend to, like finally meeting Ida's mysterious friend from the past. The witch from the photograph turns out to be Raine Whispers, Ida's friend from school, a former Bard teacher, and current head of the Bard Coven. Rayne is our first confirmed non-binary character on the show, so just a friendly reminder to use they/them pronouns when you talk about them in the comments later. They're a beautiful performer, but they get super intense stage fright, which seems to be a consistent hindrance throughout their life. And holy titan, it seems like they might have had a thing with Ida back in the day. We've got enough blushing here to rival Amity, folks. Despite not hanging out for a really long time, Ida and Rayne seem to pick right back up where they left off. It turns out that Rayne really took the advice that Ida gave them when they were kids to heart, to punch fear right in the face and stay true to theirself, and has used it to fuel their entire double agent rise through the ranks. Although they started off teaching, their research quickly led them to the discovery that Belos was recruiting witches to each coven by force, and that those who dissented in opinion were imprisoned or disappeared. They vowed to use their positions of power going forward to find other like-minded witches who were down to enact change amongst the covens, and eventually founded BAT, a secret gang that opposes Belos and his plans for the Day of Unity. BAT stands for Bards Against the Throne, and their mission is to use musical magic to spread the word about Belos' evil plans for the Day of Unity. They announced to the market that although the Divine Ruler says he wants to join the covens in harmony, he really just wants to control them. They also claim that Belos is only trying to weaken their magic, restrict knowledge from them, and ultimately steal their powers for his greater terrible purpose. Besides Rayne, the members of BAT are Amber, Katya, and Derwin. Amber is a purple witch who plays the flute, Derwin plays the bassoon, and Katya plays the tambourine. We also know that Katya was initially imprisoned by the Emperor's Coven for her romantic food fanfiction. She was the first witch Luz met when she and King broke into the dungeons to steal back King's crown. Rayne must have recruited her to BAT sometime after that. Also fun Katya fact, this scene is sort of a reunion of her, Eyeball Guy, and Tiny Nose. This is actually the first time we see bard magic performed, and honestly it's a lot cooler than I thought it would be. I wasn't sure how they were gonna link music and magic without being totally cheesy, but I love how these powers are more than meets the eye. For example, BAT is able to ensnare the legs of the Emperor's guards with sound and bewitch them to move against their will. Unfortunately, it does seem really easy to combat this form of bard magic. All the guards have to do is slap on some fuzzy earmuffs and they're immune to the charming music. That does seem like a pretty big weakness for this genre of magic to me, but it doesn't seem to make a bard completely powerless. We've seen that Rayne can also create concussive sonic blasts, and Derwin can possibly summon smokescreens with his magic. Rayne and Ida also have shown that they can manipulate the environment around them with music, creating telekinetic fields. Rayne is even able to perform fairly complex targeted telekinetic attacks, so there's a lot of versatility in this coven's toolbox. After Ida helps facilitate an escape from the Emperor's fuzz, the reluctant crew allows her to join. She helps them form a plan to set free all of the wild witches imprisoned by Belos and leads them outside the city walls where it will be more difficult to find them. Although they complete their first raid successfully, BAT is lured into a trap, and Amber, Derwin, and Katya are captured. The heads of the Abomination and Beastkeeping Covens, Darius and Eberwolf, caught wind of a traitor in their ranks, and decided to out the Turncloak once and for all. Honestly, these two are terrifying. Darius is giving me major Jafar vibes with his eyeball-covered abomination form, and I wish we got to see a full anime-style battle against Rayne for a better view of his powers. He can morph seamlessly between his human and abomination forms, and also control his excess abomination sludge to form weapons and act as restraints. I've seen some theories already that Darius might actually be a super advanced abomination himself, either with his own autonomy or one that's puppeted by Belos. That might explain why he's not a fan of getting all muddy. It could interfere with the purity of his chemical makeup. Personally, I think he's able to become one with the sludge and physically transform his being into an abomination. As for Eberwolf, I would not want to meet this wild child alone in the woods. Eber is the German word for wild boar, so this witch's name is roughly Boarwolf. Also, it looks like their Penstagram handle is @RaisedByDirewolves, which I'm taking as literally as possible. If you don't know, direwolves are an extinct species of massive canines that existed during the Ice Age. They've recently been readapted into fantasy and made popular by D&D and Game of Thrones. Fun fact, geneticists have recently discovered that the modern wolf is more closely related to jackals than direwolves, meaning that the direwolf isn't technically a wolf at all. They're still early ancestral canines, though. We've been seeing lots of new beast-keeping magic this season, but Eberwolf shows that it's more than just communicating with and controlling creatures. For starters, they can full-on summon beasts at will like Pokemon trainers. They can also use their magic to take on the abilities and features of beasts, like Eber totally hulks out with scary fangs and talons here. They can also improve their eyesight to track footsteps, but this is magically enhanced as a spotlight that others can also see. I'm really interested in how other advanced spells in the Beast-Keeping Coven can fantastically build upon heightened senses or animal abilities. Theoretically, could beast-keeping magic be used to grow wings? What about granting wings or other animorph powers to others? Some real cool possibilities here. I'm excited to see more from this coven. While hiding, Rayne tells Ida more about what they know of Belos' plans for the Day of Unity. They say that Belos needs all the coven heads to perform a powerful spell, so if the pair can take out Darius and Eber, it'll ruin his plans. Earlier, Rayne also keyed Ida in on Belos' goal of marking every wild witch with a coven mark before the Day of Unity, so that he can siphon their full power. So it's my understanding that Belos plans to use the entire population of his empire as a magic battery for his big spell, which honestly gives me more questions than answers. If he gets every witch on the Boiling Isles chipped before the Day of Unity, presumably granting him unconditional control of his empire, what could he be plotting that goes beyond that and requires pooling all this energy into a single spell? Is it really just so that he can merge realms? Can't he just hop through the portal door without all this rigmarole if he wants to go to the human realm? For something this intricate, there's got to be something more at play. Part of me is wondering if the Day of Unity also involves unifying the inhabitants of the Boiling Isles in some manner. Like, what if this disciple of the Titan plans on returning flesh and life to the Titan by returning all the magic its skeleton has been leaking back to the source? Right now, we know there's a difference between wild magic and bile duct magic, but what if the bile duct doesn't produce magic, but rather catches and distills wild magic radiating from the Titan's corpse? By marking each witch with a coven brand, is Belos able to funnel the bile duct reserves into the Titan? I'm sure reanimation could lead to a really hungry Titan, so perhaps he also wants to merge the realms so that the Titan has plenty of human snacks to feast on once he returns. Off-the-wall theory aside, because Rayne knows that eliminating Darius and Eber will likely stop Belos, they deduce that using Ida's curse in a joint self-sacrificing maneuver might be the last shot they have at stopping Belos before the pair is caught and outgunned. Ida agrees, and together they perform a duet. Rayne's Rhapsody and Ida's Requiem. Ida's curse destroys magic when she performs bard spells with her lute, so Rayne plans to amplify it with their own song. By definition, a rhapsody is an episodic yet free-flowing musical composition, which mirrors Rayne's powers. When they play the violin, objects around them begin to float and their magical melody fills the surrounding air. But when Ida adds her curse tune to the mix, the curse takes over that enchanted energy, slowly turning to ash everything it comes into contact with. A requiem is a mass performed for the repose of the dead, i.e. it's a somber death song, so it also makes sense that Ida's requiem is the tune that literally and symbolically signifies her demise. Although they're able to mess up Eber's rat mouse and temporarily screw up Darius' abomination form, the curse begins to burn Ida and Rayne along with them. But when Rayne sees that Ida has a family, a reason to live, and people that depend on her, they stop Ida before the spell finishes. With Darius free from the spell, he's able to capture them, but Rayne sacrifices theirself to buy Ida time to escape. Part of me really wishes this moment was paced like a shonen anime and we could see a multi-episode battle between Rayne, Darius, and Eber. But hey, I suppose that's what the imagination's for. Rayne does manage to wiggle free when the Coven heads are distracted by Pentagram later, but Kikimora shows up riding one of Alador Blight's abomination robots and imprisons them. Surprisingly, Kiki doesn't take Rayne to be immediately petrified. Instead, she lifts one of the fingers covering her inverted right eye and zaps the bard sigil on their wrist. Red vines immediately spring from the sigil and fully bind Rayne, presumably forcing them into a magical cocoon of sorts. Kikimora said that it would be a waste to kill Rayne because Belos really does need all of the Coven heads to perform the spell, and it would be too difficult to find yet another replacement bard head. Remember, when Rayne was brought in, it was to replace the retired bard Coven head, Scooter Crane. My question is, did Scooter really retire? Or was he also unceremoniously kidnapped for the Emperor's gain? Did Scooter rebel before Rayne was instated as well? Is he a potential ally for the Bad Girl Coven? Or is he just lounging at the Boiling Isles version of Margaritaville enjoying his 401k? If he is another defector, I wonder if this is a commentary on the nature of artists and creative types rebelling from rigid or fascist constraints. Obviously, a rescue mission of some kind has to be performed, but my guess is that we won't see Rayne again until the season finale. I think Belos is going to use them as a pawn to lure Ida to the Day of Unity in order to steal her powers, and that Ida will absolutely fall for it because of her feelings of friendship, loyalty, and possibly even a little romance towards them. Ida also knows that she now has the power to poison Belos' well of magic, so I suspect that we'll get another self-sacrifice at some point. But of course, we'll have to wait and see exactly how all that plays out. Back over in B-Plot Town, King and Luz have been participating in the Gland Prix, a Palisman staff race between students from Hexside, Glandis, and St. Epiderms. We get to see some new students and faculty from the rival schools. Side quest? Obviously these schools are playing off lost body parts of the Titan, with Glandis being a reference to the glands and Epiderms being the epidermis, aka the skin. So does that mean that Hexside is supposed to be the literal hex side of the Titan? Like the kidneys or something? We also get to see some new palisman like a squirrel, flying fish, squid, gargoyle, anteater, what looks like a devil, and two identical palisman that look like Venus flytraps. That has an interesting implication, but I'm guessing that our Oracle girl Celine will get a different official palisman down the line. This is a very quick frame, and likely the doubling up was to save design and animation time. My headcanon is that Celine is borrowing this palisman like Luz is borrowing Albert. There's also the dreaded giraffe. All this giraffe teasing, I'm gonna start putting money down on a full-on giraffe fight by the end of the series. The race's winner gets fame, their name on the Cup of Ephemeral Glory, and an interview with Perry Porter to be broadcasted throughout the Isles. Although Luz and King come in 5th place, Ida insists that King record a video message to his dad anyway, and lets him use her Pentagram account to stream it. Ida must have quite the following, because all across the Isles, witches are seen watching the stream, including a furry, horned, winged stranger that looks like he might be King's real dad. The creature stops and does a double take when King lifts the symbol he found at his birthplace to show the camera, and coupled with the fact that he looks very similar to the drawings back at the ruined castle, I think it's safe to say we found him. I have so many questions about King's dad, but the first one on my mind is, did he really recognize King as his son, or did he just recognize the symbol? I'm asking because I wonder if we have a Martin Merton situation on our hands. If you remember the story of Finn the Human and his dad from Adventure Time, the two were separated when Martin had to defend his son during a battle. Finn's dad got bonked on the head and lost all of his memories, including the ones where he was in love with Finn's mom and their life together as a family. Although Finn is later able to tell his dad that he's his son, Martin only vaguely understands what it means to be his father. He knows that he's Finn's dad, but he just doesn't have any clear memories from that part of his life, and the head injury really changed him. Even with the knowledge that Finn is his son, he's never really able to fully get it together to be there for his kid. It's truly a sad story because if Martin only knew how much he loved being Finn's father back in the day, he would be a completely different person. I really hope that this isn't the case for King and his dad, but right now it's a good explanation for why the two never reunited. Perhaps King's dad doesn't realize he has a son, or has forgotten that he used to be a mighty ruler. It seems like he's living a nomadic life now. He's walking around town with his mystery carriage instead of conquering enemies or sitting on a throne. I wonder if he's even aware of his own identity. On the flip side, King's dad could have been searching for him this entire time, and this is his first real clue to where his son is. Maybe that's why the former King of Demons is blending into society now. Perhaps he's deep undercover as a normal magical creature as he looks for King. Maybe that symbol is the clue he's been looking for, and the reason he hasn't been able to find his child is because King was so well hidden in the Owl House for all those years. Real-life missing persons cases get solved all the time via social media, so it wouldn't surprise me if the key to finding the King of Demons' son lies on Pentagram. Lastly, let's talk about this week's secret code. To remind y'all, the code we have so far is Seething Seas and Puppet Strings, he. And this week, the added word is no. In this case, no is spelled N-O, not K-N-O-W, which threw me off at first. I was like, is the Owl House mystery code speaking like how I speak to my dog? He no wanna play with toys, he wanna go outside, yes he do. Right now, the common consensus is that next week's code will be longer, as in, he no longer does X. I did some research into similar words that might work, but the only alternative that'll make some semblance of sense in a sentence is sooner. No longer is a more universal expression than no sooner, so I think the internet sleuths are onto the right track this week. We learned a lot from this week's episode. About Rayne, Bard Magic, 2 Coven heads, and King's dad. But I want to know what you guys think about that stuff too. Hit me up with your theories down below, like and subscribe to our channel, and check out our Patreon if you want to donate to our Pug Fund. I'm Scarlet Wit, and you're watching WhitneyVision.